Hello and welcome everyone, and in the previous episode we created our first C program and we also put this program inside of the computer. We wrote it on the computer and we tried to run it and it ran successfully. Now in this episode I want to talk about exclusively about this line of code, the hash include stdio.h, and we said that this line of code is called the preprocessor directive. So let me write it down in here. It's called preprocessor directive. So as the name implies, the preprocessor directive is a directive or an instruction for the preprocessor to do a specific set of action. So in this case, it's telling the preprocessor to include the header standard io.h. This is a header. Headers are basically files that they contain code. So this file, stdio.h, somewhere in your computer, it's located there, and it contains some code. And this hash include is directing the preprocessor to include the code of this file inside of our code in this our first program. So you know that our first program, we saved it with a dot first program .c file. So this was the file that we created, first program.c, and this file contained our code. Now the preprocessor directive will tell the preprocessor to include some codes that is available here in this header to bring them here in our file before compiling our program. So it is appropriate for me to shortly tell you about how a program is executed in C programming language. So whenever a program is executed, it goes through a few phases. Let's go and write down those few phases. The first phase is creating a program. So as you can see that we created this program on our IDE div C++, we wrote our code that was creating our program. The next one is pre-processing that code. Pre-processing that code. So using preprocessor directives, we give some specific instructions to the preprocessor to do some certain things, as we said, include some code from outside into this code that we have in here, and this is the job of the preprocessor, and this is the phase of preprocessing during the execution of a C program. Now the third phase is compiling. And this is when our code is going to be converted into a machine code, basically the code that the computer will be able to understand. We will talk about this later on. The fourth step will be linking, where the linker is going to do a few more things. The fifth stage is going to be loading. And the sixth stage is going to be execution. So as you can see that we have many phases during the execution of a C program, even as simple as this one. And now you partially understand what is the role of a preprocessor. So that's it about preprocessor directive. Preprocessor directives is a topic that we will cover later on during this series, and there's a lot of things that you will be able to understand later on. It's not just include, we can do many other things using these preprocessors, and later on we will discuss about those topics as well. So for the time being, I hope that you have understood why we have included the preprocessor directive in our program. So that's it for this episode, a little bit of introduction to preprocessor directives, and we will cover this topic in more details in the later episodes. So stay tuned and I will see you in the coming episodes.